Hey all, it's David Ducker coming back at you, and today I'm going to be talking about X-Pac heat. That's a pro wrestling term, and I'll explain it to you because it does actually have some bearing on RPGs. I was talking to Pastor Ben about his upcoming Dragon Seed RPG, which is a Christian RPG designed to promote discipleship and educate people about the Bible and have great adventures as well. It's a really interesting sounding concept to me. The only things I'm concerned about are how heavy-handed he's going to be with his discipleship. But I think there's a lot of great mythology and adventures you can get out of Christian mythology, just pull straight out of the Bible. But I digress. I was discussing this with him, and I was reading through some of the lore that he did, specifically for some of the demons. His father, I believe, has a doctorate in demonology, which is pretty cool, as well as, of course, theology and philosophy, which are also cool, but less esoteric. And I was reading through some of the demons that he's using. And when I was reading it, the descriptions were incredibly graphic. They were incredibly graphic descriptions, depictions of torture and rape. And it's for me, I'm a sensitive guy. It's hard to believe, but I am actually a sensitive guy. I don't like to hear about these things. Just as I just mentioned them, that's as much detail as I like to hear about. I can stand the word torture, I can stand the word rape, and it's not incredibly damaging to my psyche. But like reading through this, he had really graphic descriptions of torture and rape, and I was talking to him like, brother, you should really get that out of your game. Nobody wants to read that. And he said to me, well, I'm trying to make the demons seem like really evil. Like, they really are irredeemably evil and they need to be put down. And for these enemies, there's no sympathy. I said, well, that's okay. Like, it's good to have some irredeemable evils. But if you describe them so graphically like that, anyone reading it, or even playing your game, is not going to hate the demons. They're going to hate you for writing it. They're going to hate your product for depicting it. And they're just going to walk away. They're going to brush their hands, wash their hands of this game, and get out of there. At best. At worst, they're going to, report you to the news media, and we're going to get role-playing games demonized in general. And your product especially is going to, all the good people are going to stay away from it, and all of the really crazy sickos are going to start buying it and reading it, and that's going to be your only audience. So there's a fine line between a villain that you love to hate, someone you hate and you just love to hate him and you want to see him get their comeuppance, like Joffrey from Game of Thrones. You hate that kid, he's a monster. He did evil things, largely off-screen. He did really evil things, and then on-screen, he's just a complete jackass and a complete asshole. So that's great. But you don't want to cross that line over to the point where he's so disgusting that you stop watching the show, you call the FCC and try to get the show taken off the air, that you'll badmouth the show publicly. You don't want to cross that line. In pro wrestling, we call this X-Pac heat because there is a famous wrestler, X-Pac, also known as Six-Pac, when he was in another company and he had to change his name. Or the 1-2-3 Kid, the Lightning Kid, Sean Waltman. He has many names. But he famously had this run in the World Wrestling Federation where the crowd turned on him, and not in the normal way. Like, they didn't love to hate him; they just hated him. They wanted him to die. They wanted his knees to blow out. When he'd come to the ring, everyone would go to the concession stand and get a hot dog. It was bad. It was not that they loved to hate him; they just legitimately hated him. and he's like damaging everyone around him. The whole product around him was being damaged. So in pro wrestling, call it X-Pac heat. But don't be X-Pac in your game. Don't bring that in and alienate people from your game as a whole. Make villains that they love to hate, but don't make things so reprehensible that they'll just walk away from the table. We had an experience where Aaron was running us through a game of Warhammer 40,000 of Dark Heresy, and we were Inquisitors searching for demon worshippers or whatever, and we found this cult of Slanesh, and Aaron gave these really vivid, graphic, explicit descriptions of all the goings on in the cult. And, I was disgusted. I thought it was gross. I didn't want to hear about it. I talked to Aaron, because I'm a very forward person. If you do something that upsets me, you're going to hear about it. So I talked to Aaron after the game. I'm like, brother, you got to stop describing these things in such graphic detail if you want me in the game. If you want to keep doing this, that's on you, but I quit. So if you tone it down, no problem. Everything else is fine. It's just don't graphically describe what the cult of Slanesh is doing. You can hint at it. You can mention it in passing, like gloss over it. But don't be so explicit that I'm disgusted and I can't I can't eat my pizza because I'm worried I'm going to vomit on your table. Because I'll vomit right on your GM screen, you son of a bitch. So we had a nice conversation, me and Aaron. Aaron's a great guy. And it's the same thing. Sometimes when you're trying to get good heat, when you're trying to just make a villain people love to hate, you might cross over that line and you don't even realize it. And then next thing you know, you're X-Pac. And, you get fired and you have to change your name once again and go to another domain. So I just wanted to mention this because, it's a valid topic of conversation. Let me know if you've had any experiences of X-Pac heat in your game, if you've alienated people from the whole game with something in it, or if you've been in a game and the GM pulled something out and you're like, peace, and you just booked it out of there and left because they had invoked X-Pac heat upon you. So I'm going to let you go there. Talk about X-Pac heat. Now I want to watch some X-Pac matches because he's a pretty good wrestler. It's just he can be incredibly offensive when he tries to be. So everybody have a good day in YouTube land. Cheers.